questions, though, are very simple, Joy. People think that Russell Wilson would make the Steelers, who had a really good defense last year, instant contenders. They think that it is a match made in heaven. I personally do not. But let's not think about Russell Wilson for a moment. Let's think about the Steelers. You know Steelers well. You grew up in Pittsburgh. Should the Steelers want Russell Wilson?
Yes, I think the Steelers should want Russell Wilson. This past year, they were 28th in scoring, 25th in total offense. That's what we on Speak like to call bad. Not good. The last time that Russell Wilson and the Steelers won a playoff game, Russ last won a playoff game in 2019. The Steelers last won a playoff game in 2016. Now, they get to the playoffs, but they don't win. And part of the reason for that is they need a quarterback.
Sure.
They have a defense. I just read you the offensive rankings. They have Mike Tomlin. They have lots of weapons. They have great stars. They have a culture. They have tradition. They have an identity. But the one thing that they're missing is the quarterback position. I understand there's questions on both sides of this. Would a quarterback really make a difference for the Steelers? Are we just imagining how good they are? Is Russell Wilson still capable of elevating a team? Do we imagine how good Russell Wilson is? What we do know is the Steelers are consistent and Russ is capable. And that is why I think this is a good match. We talk about this all the time, replacing quarterbacks. Should this team get a different quarterback? We're going to talk about another team, a very high-profile team. Should they replace their quarterback? I think we have like 3 segments in today's show about teams possibly replacing their quarterbacks. It's the position that we talk about the most. It's the position that gets the most focus, and as it should, because they influence the game that much. The Steelers need a high-level quarterback, and Russell Wilson needs a home that he doesn't have to build. That's what the Steelers are to me.
The Steelers need a high-level quarterback. I agree with that wholeheartedly. I think the dilemma at hand is Russell Wilson that high-level quarterback? I don't think the Steelers should want Russ. And it's not because Russ isn't capable of playing. It's because if the Steelers feel as though they are just a quarterback away, is Russell Wilson that quarterback that's keeping them away? I don't think so. Remember, the Steelers had Ben Roethlisberger when they had good defenses, too. And Ben Roethlisberger, from that 2017 to 2018, 19, 20 timeframe, he was 12th in the National Football League in passing yards. Well, Russell Wilson is currently 12th off of last season in the National Football League in passing yards. So when I think about it, it's not as though the Steelers haven't had a quarterback in the last 10 years. They have. But the Steelers, in my mind, they aren't as close as we think. Shady McCoy, Russell Wilson isn't as close as we think. So when I really think about it, I look at Russell Wilson and Mike Tomlin as a Spider-Man meme. They are both incredibly good at what they do. They're very well elevated in our minds, but if we're being honest, they've both been to 2 Super Bowls. They both won a Super Bowl. Both of them was a distant time ago. Mike Tomlin does a great job carrying his defense when his offense isn't there. Russell Wilson in Seattle did a great job carrying his offense when his defense wasn't there, but ultimately neither of them have won playoff games, a lot of them, in the recent history. So you're looking at the same guy. I do not believe that Russell Wilson plus Mike Tomlin plus Russell Wilson, James, I don't think that's really going to amount to what we think it should. I don't know that the Steelers should want Russ.
The Steelers should definitely want Russell Wilson. And when I look at Russell Wilson, I really see Ben Roethlisberger. And what I mean by that is, obviously, I'm not talking size-wise and all that, Pauls, like Shady say, but Ben Roethlisberger never carried the Pittsburgh Steelers. They had really good defenses, and when he needed to deliver, when the game was on the line, Ben Roethlisberger showed up. When
never carried them and won, because Ben definitely carried.
Super Bowl.
There we go.
Thank you. Never carried the team and won a Super Bowl.
Yes,
all the Super Bowls he went to, he had a really good defense. I played against Ben Roethlisberger in the Super Bowl and against that defense. Really good defenses. Never really carried the team to a Super Bowl. So that's Russell Wilson. Right? Legion of Boom, never really carried a team to the Super Bowl, but to get W's when they needed a quarterback to go down the field and score, whether it's 3, whether it's 7, to make the right plays, Ben Roethlisberger did. Russell Wilson did. Russell Wilson even did it at times last year. When the Denver Broncos defense was playing at a high level, they were 6-1. And Russ did have the ball in his hands at the end of the game to go down there and deliver. Russell Wilson did beat Josh Allen and beat Patrick Mahomes. So for me, if I'm the Pittsburgh Steelers, give yourself a fighting chance. Kenny Pickett is not beating Patty in the playoffs. He's not going to beat Lamar. He's not going to beat Joe. He's not going to beat a healthy Aaron Rodgers. It's not going to happen. At least give yourself a fighting chance, and you get to get him for cheap. If we all walked into the car dealership right now, we was trying to get our favorite car, and they say, Shady, lucky day. You get 90% off. You're going to get 3 of them. One for Pops, one for Mom, one for me. You're going to get 3. That's what this Russell Wilson, you don't got to pay this man no money. You giving him veteran minimum because he's already getting paid by the Broncos. This makes all the sense to give yourself a fighting chance to go win a championship and try to win one.
That's a good point because he's not going to ask him for too much, probably. There's not a lot of people knocking on the door like, hey, we want you, Russ, right? And I know that feeling, okay, you don't want me? Cool, I'm going to go with somebody that wants me. But to your point, what should the Steelers do then? They should stick with Trubisky and Kenny Pickett?
I think you got a couple options. I think you got Kirk Cousins in free agency.
He ain't going there.
I also think that you have the deepest quarterback draft class that I can remember, maybe at least since 2012.
Oh, you want to get a rookie? Okay, keep going.
So, well, those are really your only options. You got free agency, you got trade, and you got a rookie.
Free agency is expensive.
It is expensive, but so is winning.
Yeah, but you think Kirk Cousins is worth that money over Russell Wilson's veteran minimum?
Off of Achilles.
Well, here's the question. Are we having a business conversation or are we having a winning conversation?
You have to have both.
I think if you have the business conversation, of course you get Russ, but I don't think that's a winning conversation.
But you have to have both
But they've
because
been
this
winning,
is a
though.
business
That's what I'm
and
saying.
there's a cap and you have to pay people.
I agree. I'm simply saying is if you're getting Russ because of money, agree with y'all. Of course. Yeah, he's cheap. So
No, but it's Russ because of money and talent. Like, he's not just completely devoid of talent. If you bring in Kirk Cousins, you have to pay him, which means you will lose talent on your roster, if you can even move those things around.
I don't think, Shady, because I don't want to take it from you, I don't think that Russ is the missing piece.
I mean, my question to you is like, what are they going to do then? Because every year the Steelers get so close with nothing, right? Like, it's actually remarkable what they're doing over there. Like, you're having a chance to get in the playoffs with that type of roster, that type of offense. Okay, so let's look at Russ's numbers real quick, right? So the team was 7-8, right?
Yep.
Not great, but they did have a 6-1
Time
stretch.
stretch.
Okay. So he had 230 yards per game. He had 29 touchdowns. You telling me if the Steelers had that, they want to be in a better situation? I think you're looking at Russ because who he is and what he's displayed so far, but he's not the old Russ. That's gone. But what the Steelers got, they have basically nothing. And I love Kenny Pickett, so I'm not going to go to that deep into it. But it's like they don't have much. So if you tell me they can't get Russ and they can't win games, how can they not? I've watched this defense win games, but I never even seen nothing like that. The defense is winning games. I watched the Steelers play the Ravens, right? I'm like, they're about to smoke these boys. And they find out when they lose that game. Like, how did they lose to the Steelers? They didn't do nothing on offense the whole game. Twice at that. So you tell me when you get Russell Wilson that had 230 yards and 29 touchdowns this year, that's not enough to compete in that division? That sounds crazy to me.
Russ's first year in Denver went bad.
Yeah.
Went bad for a lot of them.
I'm not talking about that year. I'm not even thinking about that year.
We shouldn't, but we should have some context. Because what that tells me is, outside of Russ having an offensive genius in a new location, at least we have history of Russ struggling. Maybe Nathaniel Hackett's atrocious. Maybe he's the worst coach in the history of mankind. Aaron Rodgers would probably disagree. Aaron Rodgers won 2 MVPs on the back of Nathaniel Hackett. But maybe Nathaniel Hackett can't coach and is an abysmal coach. Maybe. But I don't know what Arthur Smith can do as the offensive coordinator for the Steelers, who just got there. Steelers, for the first time in their history, Joy, at least in the last 60 or 70 years, fired a coach in the middle of the season. So I also can't guarantee that Russell Wilson is going to completely adapt to a brand new offense and hit the ground running, because in Denver, he struggled doing that same thing. So I'm just using all of the context.
So is Trubisky, and this, see, you hear what you're saying, right? And I'm not saying you're wrong about that. My question to you is, well, who's going to do it then? That's my question. Who else is out there to get? Because they're not going to pay that money for Kirk Cousins.
No.
They're not. It's too many different teams.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, and you want to go to the rookie? You don't want to do the rookie. Who else is left?
I would
You hear what
rather.
I'm saying?
I feel you. But I guess y'all are giving me 2 options that I don't want.
No, we're giving you the options.
We're giving 3 options.
No.
It's Russell Wilson, so that you don't have to pay him. You have
Keep the
Kirk
dude you got.
Cousins, who you will have to pay and probably can't
Gotta
pay.
pay.
Probably can't pay. The Steelers probably cannot afford Kirk Cousins. And then you have a rookie. Why would you get a rookie if you already have Kenny Pickett in the building
You're not
developing?
going
So
to.
you're not going to
Yeah,
get
you
a
take him in
rookie.
the first round.
And they're not going to pick that high to get into the
me,
like, they're going to be gone.
Well, one, we have definitely seen. One, we've seen teams draft rookies back to back. So Kenny Pickett would be on his 3rd year. So I don't think it's a foregone conclusion that the Steelers wouldn't draft the quarterback.
Trying to win right now.
Right.
Hold on.
Because that's Steelers
Hold on real
football.
quick, hold on.
But Steelers football
You
also.
are
Go
Mike
ahead.
Tomlin.
Yep.
You are Coach Tomlin right now. You see the way your defense is playing. You see your division, who's in there. Lamar, Joe. You got to say Watson, because Cleveland was in the playoffs.
Just say Cleveland.
Right? You're the coach. You know you got to compete number 1 in that division. Then when you get to the playoffs, you must see Patty. You must see Josh. You must see Aaron Rodgers. You got to go through those guys. Can Kenny Pickett get that done?
No.
Okay, so now that's gone.
Out the table.
You're not going to get a Kirk Cousins because the price is going to be too high and he's coming off of Achilles injury.
Which one is it, though? Because I would rather restructure if we believe in Kirk. So let's not talk price.
You can't restructure. Like, we can't just say, like, okay, we're going to just clear the books for Kirk Cousins.
But we know
that's not going to happen. Let's just assume they're not going to do that, because they're not going to do that. They're not going to clear the books for Kirk Cousins if they can pay Russell Wilson veteran minimum.
We can make that assumption. I don't agree with it, but we can make that assumption for the sake of the hypothetical.
We're not playing fantasy football here. This is real life football. They have real salary caps. They have real money available. They have real people signed to contracts. Like, everybody's not in that camp.
Of course, but we know you can convert things into bonuses. You can convert guarantees into bonuses. So it is possible. But if we want to say they're not going to do it, let's say they're not going to do it.
Let's also assume they're not going to do it because Kirk Cousins is coming off of an Achilles injury. Has not done anything in the postseason worth writing about.
And he's a
free agent, so he can go and pick where he wants to go.
You got to cater to me.
He's going to get all the money that he wants. So let's assume that Kirk Cousins is this long shot because of all the reasons we just said. My question is really, outside of who else is going to do it besides Russell Wilson, is what's the difference between the Steelers and the Cowboys? Do you think that the Cowboys have a good chance of winning the Super Bowl? We all thought that they...
Not with Dak Prescott.
Okay, last year we thought that they could probably do that, right? Do you think that the Cowboys are a team that can contend in the postseason?
Yes.
Why do we think that?
Because they have a really, 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 really good roster.
They have a really, really good roster.
Really
what is the difference between the Steelers and the Cowboys? I'll tell you what the difference is. Since 2008, what the Steelers have done is won a Super Bowl, and then they went to 9 playoff appearances, 5 division titles, and another Super Bowl appearance. How many Super Bowls have the Cowboys won since 2008? 0. How many Super Bowls have they been to since 2008? 0. The Steelers are a better run organization on paper and by results than the Dallas Cowboys. Yet every year we assume that the Dallas Cowboys are in Super Bowl contention. Now, part of that is because of the Dallas Cowboys, and we just talk about the Cowboys that way. But the reality is the Steelers are actually a team that is a quarterback away. The way that we talked about Denver before Russ got there is what the Steelers
I just
actually
don't agree.
are.
So then, Joy, how do you, and you would know this best of probably anybody on television, how do you quantify the Steelers in 2017, the 2018, in 2019, when they had a quarterback?
Okay, listen.
They had a quarterback.
Let's keep it a buck about Ben Roethlisberger as well at the end of his career.
Let's do the same. I would say, and we can go back and look at numbers, we can look at stats, or we can look at tape. That Ben Roethlisberger and this Russell Wilson are not far apart.
No, that's not true.
They are. Look at Russell Wilson's last 2 years. Look at his last 2 years.
Look at his last year.
So we just want to look at one?
Also, I would also say that the Steelers vastly underachieved when Ben was healthy and they had Le'Veon Bell and they had Antonio Brown. I think they vastly underachieved with that team. So it's not even like
and he can't run.
Yeah.
What I'm about to say with Russ, no matter how bad he's playing, throwing it, right, which last year he didn't really do bad. He didn't. He did a good year. He can run, though. So
not
now,
anymore.
But he can run well enough.
Shady. The numbers suggest otherwise.
Well,
the numbers suggest otherwise.
The numbers tell you that, and I watched the games where sometimes he's extending plays. We watched when he beat Buffalo. What was he doing? He was running. He was extending plays and making it happen. The Chiefs, same thing. So I've watched him make good plays in moments where Ben, when he got older, he looked awful. And he held the team for ransom. Like, I'm not leaving. Right. So we can't act like they're the same. I'm not going to say they're the same. Because my thing is this. Russ can still run. At the end of the day, that's what I learned about this game, man. I forget what coach taught me this, but if a quarterback is bad, if he still can run, you still got a shot.
The reason I don't believe it is for 2 reasons. Within the last 18 months, Russell Wilson pulled his hamstring trying to run because he's getting older, and also his yards per attempt are about as bad as they've ever been. So I just don't believe that enough to be the case. The issue I have with this whole Russ Steelers perfect match is the Steelers had good defenses. They had a Big Ben, who was a good quarterback. He was not 2011 Ben, 2012 Ben, but 2017 and 2018, he was hurt in one of those years. He wasn't bad.
Okay, but
he wasn't bad.
We can't keep dwelling on the past.
Okay.
I played with a great one, and I could dwell on the past and think I should have 4 or 5 of them. So we can't. Right now, we're talking right now, the Pittsburgh Steelers, Acho. You're not going to another Super Bowl with what you have there, correct?
Of course not.
It ain't happening. So if you want to give yourself a fighting chance, it has to be Russ. If you go, so you clearly think that Kirk Cousins is better than Russell Wilson. That's what you're telling me?
I don't think it's clear.
Kurt ain't delivered in the playoffs. Kurt ain't delivered in the playoffs neither.
Well, Kurt's better than Russ. We're not arguing that, are we? Right now?
I think it's an argument.
All right.
But here's where I'm at with Shady is I agree. I think I don't know. I do not know.
I think Kirk is better than Russ.
Hold on, wait. I just want to get this straight because I thought I knew football. Hold on. If they both are free agency,
yeah.
What?
No, Kirk is better than Russ.
What are you going to get into? No. I want him to answer.
If they both same prices. They're
not the same price.
I know that.
So how's he better than him?
Kirk is better, but I don't know why we're talking about Kirk.
I'm not sure, man.
Because Kirk is not going to Pittsburgh.
That's crazy. All right, I'm going to say this real quick. If Russ, so for the Steelers, because you're saying it's like you don't like it at all.
I don't like it at all.
So
I don't like it at all.
I keep asking you the same question.
How you going to win?
What should they do? Because we talk about Super Bowl. Let's just leave the Super Bowl thing alone. Because I keep saying we talk about Super Bowl like it's easy to do. Let's just go to winning a playoff game, right? When's the last time the Steelers won a playoff game?
That was 2016.
Yeah. Right. You see where I'm going with this.
Yeah.
So let's go there, though. Let's just leave the Super Bowl alone. Let's just go. How can the Steelers get to the playoffs? Convincingly get to the playoffs, right? No, I need you to lose, and we got to win. Not on that. We're going to get to the playoffs, we're going to fight in our division, and we're going to win a playoff game. Can we just go there for a second? You don't think Russ can do that? Let's start there.
Yes, if you're starting there, I do believe Russ can do that.
That's all we're saying.
In the playoffs with that defense and the way that special team plays, now it goes from one game, we might steal another game. You agree with this? So let's just go there because I feel like you acting like Russ can't help him at all.
No, I think he can, but I don't think Mike Tomlin views it how you view it. I don't think he views it how Joy views it or James views it. I don't think Mike Tomlin is starting there.
So how?
I think Mike Tomlin is asking himself, who can help me win a Super Bowl?
I don't think he's thinking that.
Where's the Super Bowl quarterback?
He want a
store?
chance.
Where's the Super Bowl quarterback?
He want a chance.
Can we find it? Is like lost in some tunnel underneath.
They fight every year to even get in the playoffs.
Where is the Super Bowl quarterback store? There's Patrick Mahomes.
Yep.
There's Joe Burrow. There's Matthew Stafford.
Yep.
That's it. Those are the three Super Bowl winning quarterbacks. That's it. That's all. That's what we got. So those three of them are not available. They're not on the market.
Nope.
Everybody else we're talking about. Am I missing somebody?
No.
Okay. So you have to start with who gives you a chance.
I'm thinking big. I'm thinking bigger picture. Maybe the quarterback.
Jalen Hurts. I'm sorry.
Maybe the quarterback who's had the greatest rookie season is a quarterback who played for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And Ben Roethlisberger. Maybe a quarterback who's had the greatest.
Roethlisberger's a Hall of Famer.
He is. But what I'm saying is, if you're Mike Tomlin, you want Russell Wilson on a one-year deal just to hopefully
bridge quarterback. People use bridge quarterback all the time.
Sure. But if you're Mike Tomlin, after going through Mitch Trubisky and Kenny Pickett, the year Ben Roethlisberger got hurt, he had Mason Rudolph. Now you got Russell Wilson for a year or two. You rather do that, or would you rather draft a guy?
I would rather do that. We just drafted somebody who we knew very well. Kenny Pickett played for the University of Pittsburgh. University of Pittsburgh and Pittsburgh Steelers train in the same place. Like, there's nobody they know better.
We also knew Kenny Pickett wasn't that good. We all knew that.
I didn't know that.
Well, we knew, remember, Kenny Pickett wasn't going to go in the first round. Like, that was a terrible quarterback draft class.
He went. I don't know what that means.
So even with that being said, what the Steelers picking? 20-something?
20-something.
Okay, so who are you getting?
Penix.
Okay, and you want Penix to come in there, who's battled a lot of injuries. You want him to come in there, and you want him, because we're talking Super Bowls, right? Are we even talking playoff wins? You want him to come in there and do better than Russ? Even if you do draft somebody and you're saying Kenny Pickett is not our guy, at least you get Russ for cheap and you could bring a guy like Penix and put him underneath Russ.
Let me ask y'all this before we take
You will not be my GM.
Let me ask y'all this. What's your intention for Russell Wilson, Shady? I'll start with you. You want him for 2 years, and hopefully in those 2 years you can win a Super Bowl? Like, what do you realistically think Russell Wilson can do in the Pittsburgh Steelers?
First of all, the first year's going to be free, right? Okay. So the money you might want to pay Russ, you can pay somebody else. They might need some more help on defense, right? That's the only part of the team that's playing.
That's another really good
So that's one part, right? The money-wise, you get some more help. Then another thing is, like, we watch the Niners, right? And I hate to say this, but the Niners, notice, hear me out, their coaching philosophy, we going to take the average quarterbacks and try to build around with these great talent, and then we going to get there. All I'm saying is that you keep talking about the Super Bowl. I'm taking that out the equation. I'm saying to give my team a chance to even compete for a Super Bowl. We're going to get to this playoffs. We're going to get to the playoffs, and then we're going to make some noise with the defense. Because I learned when you have a defense in the playoffs, anything is possible. We talk about how the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes, all these great things. That's true. They don't do that without that defense.
No, they don't.
So you get to some defense, you get in the playoffs, anything is possible. And then another thing is, I look at the Steelers from back then to now, they are the same type of team. We're going to have defense first. We're going to be physical. We hope our quarterback can make plays here and there, and they will run the ball.
Subscribe here to get the latest from Speak, and go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.